A gentle breeze rustled the leaves on the giant oak tree that stood near the center of Pineboro Forest. The flowers bloomed beautifully about the forest floor. The frogs croaked loud and proud. The bees buzzed happily, carrying their baskets of pollen. One could say the day was perfect. In fact, Pineboro Forest seemed to be having a run of rather perfect days. Now one might think that a run of perfect days was a good thing, and one would be right, unless of course you are a little fairy named Bob, whose sole job was to find solutions to problems. You see, Bob was a fairy who had all of the solutions to all of the problems. Bob was so good at implementing these solutions that there were no problems left. This was quite troubling to Bob. What was he supposed to do with his time if there were no problems? Why, if there was no problems left to solve, then would the forest even need Bob, he worried. Bob woke each morning and checked his pack. He had a spool of enchanted spider silk that could stitch everything from torn leaves to the colors of rainbows, should they ever come undone. He had his pouch of blessed pollen dust, collected from the golden moon lily in the light of the new moon, and blessed by the bee queen herself. It could heal any ailment, from broken wings to broken dreams. Then, of course, in the outermost pouch was a small book, the pages made from the pressed leaves of the great oak, whose roots reach deep into the wisdom of the earth itself. The pages of the book, no matter how much is written, never run out. It is where Bob has recorded all his solutions to all of the problems. Bob strapped his pack on and took off from his little home, his turquoise wings shimmering in the golden sunlight as he flew through the forest. "I'm sure someone will need a problem solved today," he said to himself. As he skimmed across the lake, he spotted King Toad sitting on the bank and landed next to him, bowing slightly. "Your Majesty, wondering if you've had any problems that need solving?" Bob asked. The Frog King looked at Bob. His golden crown sparkled. "Nope," he croaked. "No problems here, Bob." Bob's spirit drooped a little, but he gave the Frog King a smile. "That is good to hear." And with that, Bob flew up to a branch in a tree. There he saw two of the forest pixies, laughing and chasing each other about. "Hello there," Bob said, waving at the two. "You two notice any problems in the forest?" "No, Bob," they spoke in unison, voices like small tinkling bells. "Pineboro is the best." And the two flittered off to chase the sunbeams. Bob's heart fell even farther. He was not needed any more. He took flight once more deep into the forest, until he came to the great oak that stood tall over the rest of the trees. He sank down onto one of the great oak's giant roots that disappeared into the ground and began to cry. The leaves in the great oak shook, and a voice like a gentle breeze reached Bob's ears. "Oh, Bob, why so sad?" Bob wiped his eyes and looked up at the great oak. "Great wise oak," he said, "my only job is to solve problems, and there are none left to solve. The forest doesn't need me anymore." And Bob broke into sobs. For a time, the wise oak tree didn't speak. Then Bob felt a vibration, as if the whole earth shivered. The gentle voice, like a whisper, came again to Bob's ears. "Dear Bob, is that what you think? That if we don't have problems, we will not need you?" Bob merely nodded his head. "Look up, Bob." Bob raised his head and saw the forest come alive. All the animals stood around. "Look around you. These are all the forest creatures that you have helped here in Pineboro Forest." Each animal in turn smiled and dipped its head towards Bob. Even the little pixies were among them. "Just because there are no problems to solve, dear Bob," the wise oak seemed to whisper, "does not mean that we do not need you. We need you, Bob, not because you are the best at solving problems, but because you are our friend, and for that we will always need you." Bob sniffed and wiped his tears again. "Is that true?" he asked. Yes, Bob, the wise oak said, and all the animals agreed.